Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new to the channel is Poppa-D Rides, and my name is Tim Marshburn. My channel is about long distance motorcycle touring and all things motorcycle related. Earlier today, I was texting back and forth to Wood Jr. and trying to find out if he had already planned his route up to our gathering by the Tail of the Dragon in Robbinsville, North Carolina next month. And he said, I'm just going to take 95 north. What do you think about that? I said, well, you need to take a left on 26 and then a left on 40 if that's where you're going to go. But it might be quicker to go to the north part of Georgia or even come over to Walhalla, South Carolina and take Highway 28. And he asked me which one of those would be faster. And in that conversation, I asked him if he used Ride Planner. And he said he typically just used Waze. Put in an address, let it take him where he needed to go. And back and forth. He asked me if I could show him how to use the Ride Planner when we get together up in Robbinsville next month. And while that was going on, a little light bulb went in my mind and said, hey, maybe you should make a video about that. So this video is going to talk about why I use Ride Planner to plan my long distance routes and why I use my navigation system on the bike as often as I can when I'm traveling, even if I'm just going between here and a location I know where I'm going. A lot of times I will put the route into the system because you get some extra functionality with the Harley GTS Infotainment System that you will only get if you're using it as a navigation tool. And I'm going to show you that in this video. So right now I want to show you how I build routes in Ride Planner. So the first thing you're going to need to do, looking at Ride Planner, you're going to need to log in to Ride Planner. So I'm going to come over here and log into Ride Planner. There you go. And you'll see that if I go to my saved rides, I've got a lot. And I built a couple of routes here for Wood Jr. earlier. But what I'm going to do is show you how I build a route. And what I'm going to do is I've got a group of you guys that are planning on meeting me in Boone, North Carolina to ride to Robbinsville. So I'm going to create a map and then change the route to where I want it to go using Ride Planner and show you how easy it is. So now that we've got it open, we click the create button. It's going to ask us for a start location. If you know the address of where you want to start, you just put that there. But I know I want to start in Boone, North Carolina, so I'm going to zoom into Boone, North Carolina, which is above Hickory there. Click there, right click it, it said add start location. Okay, and it's going to say 1943 Blowing Rock Road. And we're going to go to the two-wheel inn. See if it'll find two. If I could type. Two-wheel inn resort, 2595 Toulouse. That's why I had the wrong address in there. But it found it. I typed in two-wheel inn, and there it is. So now, if you look at the map over here, Ride Planner has created this nice map for me. It's going to take me down 221 and down into Marion on I-40. But that's not how I want to go, man. I don't want to travel down here. I want to travel part of the Blue Ridge Parkway. So all you have to do, first off, is this is the Blue Ridge Parkway right here. So we'll grab the line and we'll pull it over here with our waypoint and it will get us on the Blue Ridge Parkway. Now what you might have to do is zoom in kind of close, make sure you're not doing anything funky, but it's where it wants it to be. It's on the Blue Ridge Parkway. And now it's still going to take me right back down where it wanted me to go. I don't want to go there either. So there's a really good road that rides right through here down to Morganton. It's Highway 181. And I want to go down that Highway 181. So you see it there. There's 181 to Morganton. It's that road right there. So I'm going to take the map. I'm going to pull it over to 181. And then there's a road that goes above Lake James right here. The Lake James Road. I want to go across the Lake James Road. Okay. And I'll have to go into all these waypoints. Like that one there, see it's kind of off the road. I need to bring this waypoint and put it back on the highway. And that gets rid of that dog leg. If you don't look at that, it's going to turn you down some roads you don't want it to go down. Same thing here. I need to zoom in, make sure I'm not in a neighborhood or getting off the road with that. And that waypoint there looks like it's good, but I'm going to put it right on the line. Okay. Now I want to take Highway 90, which is called the Devil's Whip, right back up toward Burnsville here. This is the way you go up to this is the way you go up to Mount Mitchell. So this is still the Blue Ridge Parkway right here. So this road right here is called the Devil's Whip. And I want to take these guys on that as well. So I'm going to come right over here and I'm going to put the Devil's Whip, take this line up above Lake James again. And if I go far enough with this on the parkway, it'll change that route completely. Okay. So I hope I didn't do that too fast. But this is the route I want to go so far. I'm building it pretty good. And the whole time it's doing it here, it's telling me so far I've built a 5-hour and 23-minute route, 224 miles, and that does not include stops. That's just all riding with the standard stuff. And this is really the twisty roads that I want us to ride. So starting at the Starbucks, we'll come down and get on the parkway. We'll take the parkway over to 181, come down. This is Fish Hatchery Road right here, and it turns into Lake James Road. And then we'll come across right there above Marion, and we'll go out Lake Toxaway. If I zoom in, you'll see, Lake Tacoma, I think it's called. We'll go by there. There's a nice little Tahoma. Nice little spillway right there, but we'll go across that. And we'll go up here to the parkway, and we'll get on the parkway. And it's still taking me right down here to 40, and I'm not quite there yet. There's a really good road over here by Hot Springs, and I want to take that road. So once again, I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to grab the map, and I'm going to take it up and over to Hot Springs where I want it to go. So now I'm up to 6.5 hour ride. It's taking me all the way down to Asheville. And I may just leave it like that. But I know there's a really nice road that comes off of the parkway. See if I can find it here. Is it Ox Creek? That's not it. Elk Mountain Scenic Highway. So I want to take this waypoint. I want to pull it over to Elk Mountain Scenic Highway. That's the road I want to take over there. And if you notice, it's still added about 10 minutes according to that to the route. I can deal with 10 minutes. And it still should bring us down in Weaverville. Or near Weaverville. Oh, let's see here. It didn't do exactly what I wanted to do. So come back in and see if I can find my road I want to go over to Weaverville with. Elk Trail. Well, let's just see if it'll happen if I go down here. Look at there. That's what I want it to do. 3 miles less distance. This is the road I was trying to get it to go down. So now Elk Mountain Scenic Highway, it goes all the way down. I know where these roads are at, so this is how I build my maps, but you can do this on the fly. And notice I'm just putting waypoints, so I just have a beginning and an end. You can also add locations by clicking here. And so let's see if I can do this. Add a location. We'll try Maggie Valley. So what you can do, if you know you want to go somewhere else, you can just click on that location and it will add that to it. For example, right now we're not going to Cherokee, right? I want to go through Maggie Valley and the SoCo there. So I'm going to slide in here to Cherokee and add that as a location. And now it puts it as a location. And it took the map from coming down here on 74. It's taking it through Maggie Valley and the SoCo Pass down here. 3 miles shorter, 10 miles longer, all scenic highway. And the reason we can do this because that's right at the entrance to the Smoky Mountain National Park, and if we have a few minutes, we can ride up there to the entrance and check out the visitor center. And often there are elk standing right there in a big field. So now I have my map created the way I want it to go. So obviously it's like any other mapping system you use. It's going to take you the most expeditious route, and then you can manipulate it. I try to keep everything except for the destination and the starting point as a waypoint. So I can take this location here, and if I click on it, it'll ask me if I want to change that to a waypoint, and I do. And notice it'll disappear here. But if you slide this button to the right here, it will list every one of your waypoints. And what you can do with that is you can name them. So when I'm building a map for my IBA rides, and I did this for my in-state IBA that I'm going to do in the near future, I plotted every gas station by its address, and I had it as a location. And once I got the route built, I went in and I changed the names of all of these waypoints by clicking right here. I just put stop 1. But I changed the name of that to be gas stop 1 at the Pilot in Mount Airy, gas stop 2 at the Sun Go in Wadesboro, things like that. I changed that, and so if I want to print out a detailed map that shows all this stuff, I can print this list over here, and it'll show all of that. If I don't want to see it, just get rid of that button and they go away. Come back here, they open back up. Now, and this will actually stimulate, if you drag this slide bar here, it'll go to the beginning of your route and you can actually see how the roads are going to take you. And I'm telling you, these are some awesome roads right here, guys. I'm not going to take you on many straight roads. These are some roads, if you ever look at America Ride maps or Butler maps, these roads are in those maps. This is my backyard. This is where I like to play and travel and ride. So I want to share that with you guys. So once you get your route built, then you're going to hit Save Ride. Now what I want to do over here is put, we'll call this ride Starbucks, just for the heck of it. Starbucks Boone to 129. No, we're not 1229, 129, 129. And if we tell it to save the ride, it's going to have the name, and then this will be our route. Now, once you get that built, and that too well in. Once you get it built, you come down here to the bottom and click Save Ride again. Now, the route's built. Cool. But once this is saved, you can do a couple of things with it. If you want to share it with someone else in a message, you can click here and copy the web link, and you can send it to someone in a text message. So that's how I build my rides in Ride Planner. I find it very easy to do it this way. The cool thing is, once I save a route, let me go to my saved rides here. I'll show you. So once I save a route, and I've got my IBA, this is my IBA in-state ride that I built. So pull this over. If I list all the waypoints, you're going to see it says Flying J. This is where I changed the name of the waypoints. Flying J at Mount Airy, Sundew and Maxon, Phoenix Travel Center, Pilot in Warsaw. These are the stops that I'm going to have for my IBA challenge. I've got every gas stop planned. And then if you look over here, here's my ride. And if I want to preview that ride, I just click this button here and it'll show that I'm going to ride up to Mount Airy. We're going to come all the way back down across the state to the lower part of the state. Going to go by my mom's house. We're not stopping. Into Wilmington. And then once we get to Wilmington, I pull my mouse up too much, that's a problem. We'll go up and hit 95, and we'll go all the way up by the Virginia border. We'll come across and get back on 85. Take that back, and we'll go all the way out I-40, all the way to Asheville, all the way out to Maggie Valley, do a little loop through Maggie Valley, come back down, stop at that Love station again there, back to our beginning point. So this actually starts and stops at the same gas station. And it's 1,053 miles total. That ensures that I'm getting the IBA 1,000 saddle. So we're in state. This is all inside the state of North Carolina. We come close to the border a couple of times. Here, within a couple of miles. Here, within a couple of miles. And here, within a couple of miles. The rest of it, we're pretty well inside the state lines. But that is my route. And if I wake up that day and I want to make it a 1,500, I can come here and I can manipulate this and save it. I like the fact that I can change things on the fly. Check out this nice shirt I've got here. I went to Traveling Tall's Run to the Hills 2, and I took the information he gave us for our route, and I built this route. And so if I woke up the next morning and decided, man, I don't want to ride with Tall over here to the Cherahela, I could actually get rid of some of these things. Or if I wanted to go further down to Murphy, I could grab this number 4, which is, that's taking us out to the Bald River Falls. We go over here to edit the ride first. So that little button. I'm going to grab that waypoint, and I'm going to drag it down here to Murphy, North Carolina. And look what happened. I just all of a sudden changed what I wanted to do to go to Murphy, North Carolina, and it changed that route. Now I can save it. That's how I change things on the fly when I'm doing a long-distance trip. Let's say I had planned to do a route through Yellowstone. If you've been watching the news, they're evacuating Yellowstone right now because they're having a massive, massive flood. And I have my route going through Yellowstone, and that's where I'm going tomorrow. Man, I can't go there now, but my hotel I reserved months ago is on the other side of Yellowstone. What am I to do? I've got to figure out how to make a route that goes around Yellowstone. I can take the same route I had built in the Ride Planner going through Yellowstone and change it. Anyhow, guys, I'm getting very long-winded here. That's how I do this. Now let's go out to the bike, and I'll show you how I import this into the bike and the features that you get when you're using the GTS Infotainment System to map. Hey guys, Poppa-D here. So we've been inside building a map to send to the infotainment system so that we can use that as our navigation. Now when I travel, I build my routes in Harley Ride Planner, and then I can use the app to send those routes to the bike. And if I happen to want to change a route for a particular day, the night before I can open up the computer and I can redo the route, send it to the bike before I go to bed. And when I wake up the next day, crank the bike up, the route's ready to import into the bike. I also use Waze, so I use them in conjunction with each other. I use Waze to let me know my accurate speed, where hazards are at, where law enforcement is at, and all the things that I need to know while I'm traveling. And so long as you got cell service, that's great. But the navigation system with this bike is not necessarily dependent upon cell service. So once you build the route in here, I use the navigation to tell me where to turn at left and right and that kind of thing as I'm traveling. I don't use Waze to navigate. I use Waze for all the other benefits. I use the Harley navigation system for my routing whenever I'm on a trip. And there's some reasons why I do that. Number one, I can very easily adjust my routes and pre-plan my routes with Harley Ride Planner. Sometimes I'll build the route also in Google because it's easier to find gas stations and things in Google, and then I'll duplicate that route over in Harley Ride Planner. It's a little process, but it works great. The other thing is, once you're using that in the infotainment system, you get some additional information if you have the GTS radio like I have on this bike. The additional information that you get are things like distance to the next stop, the next turn, the time you're going to arrive at your destination, much like you would for any other map. Your miles per gallon. You don't get your miles per gallon estimated mileage on the bike any other way than using the navigation system. So if you're on a trip and you tell it to navigate you home, you'll be able to see your miles per gallon. If you're using it on a trip going across country, you're able to tell how much fuel you've used since the last stop, how much fuel you use total, and what your average miles per gallon are. So that's why I use it. So let's see what that looks like on the bike. All right, guys, so let's look and see how that is on the bike. So I built a route and ride planner, and I've sent it to the bike. So the next time you crank up the bike, as soon as it starts up, it's going to tell you that you've received a new map from the ride planner. So let's do that real quick. All right, so let's start the bike up. Hopefully you guys can see it. I know there's a little bit of a glare. I don't have a garage, so I live outside. Turn that down. Accept that. As soon as the navigation comes up, it's going to tell me that I've received a new ride. And I'm going to say, yes, I want to view that. I want to start the route. So this is starting from Savannah, Harley-Davidson, going up to Robbinsville. I built this route for Wood Jr. just recently. I want to show you some stuff. So now that I'm using the navigation system here for my route, zoom out. Okay, it's routing me from my house down to Savannah to start the ride. So if we zoom out, I built the route from Savannah to Deals Gap, near Deals Gap, Robbinsville, where we're staying next month. And it's routing me that way. But if I wanted to, I could go in here and skip waypoints. I can look at maneuvers and do that kind of thing. What I wanted to show you, though, is if you guys are not using this information, all right, so here, if you use this screen, you typically see your speed there, but these boxes are always have dashes in them unless you're using the system to navigate. So what this is telling me right now is if I leave here right now, I've got 4 hours and 14 minutes before I get to the beginning of the route, which is the next waypoint. That is 268 miles from here, the way it's routing me, down to Savannah, Harley-Davidson. And I would arrive there at 6:42 tonight if I were to leave right now. And then it's 400 plus miles to get to my final destination is over on this side. And it says it'd be 676 total miles. It would take me almost 11 hours because I'm riding down to Savannah, then turn around and then coming back to the mountains. And I wouldn't get there until 1:24 a.m. if I were to leave right now. Also down here, it'll show you your next turn. If you're moving, it'll give you the time to the next turn in this box over here. So it'll give you the time to the next turn over here. Over here, you see the elevation you're at currently and the current temperature. So typically all you will see in this is elevation, the current temperature, and speed. But when you're using the navigation system, it will show you what time you're going to get to your next waypoint and how far away it is, how many miles it is, and how many minutes it is. It's also going to tell you what time you'll get to your final destination, how long it's going to take you to get there, and how many miles it is over on this side. You don't get that any other way than if you're using the navigation system. Other things that are in here that you may not see typically, this you always see, right? Distance since last service, if you have the heat management system enabled or not. That's where it shuts off the rear cylinder, that kind of thing. If you have the RDRS, then you'll be able to see your current tire pressure. I suggest you check your tire pressure frequently, keep them properly inflated. And then over here, you'll see the average speed that you've traveled on this trip. You'll see the average miles per gallon that you've got. You'll see the total distance that you've traveled using the navigation system for that one trip. The only time you see it is on that trip that you're currently riding, the total amount of fuel you've used, and the total times you've stopped. So this is useful information, especially if you're even routing, like for an IBA ride. You get all this information to help you plan maybe for your next IBA ride. You get your fuel mileage for your bike instead of you having to take out a calculator and calculate it. It's all right here. Shows you when you stopped, and it'll show you when you end at the very end of the ride. Okay, that's what I wanted to show you. So as you guys can see, there's a lot of advantages to using the GTS navigation system that comes stock from Harley Davidson. Now, if you've changed an aftermarket radio, you know, the Sony or whatever else you might have put in there aftermarket, it's not going to have that feature. If you have the older infotainment system, it works differently. It will not work this way. But if you have the latest GTS Boom infotainment system into your radio, the one that's got the big flat screen with the whole glass face, no push buttons on it, it's actually a touch screen type system, all of that functionality works, and it works awesome. One of the reasons I chose to go ahead and trade my CVO in was the technology that was on this new bike. They weren't making CVO Road Glide Ultras at the time, and I had 50,000 miles on that bike, and this bike had the RDRS, so the new technology that helps keep me safe on the bike. I'm a good rider, but things happen sometimes, and that ABS and that lean technology will help keep me safer, and I'm all about safety. The infotainment system, routing, building maps, and sending the map to the bike by just pushing a button on an app. What are you talking about, man? That was phenomenal. The old way, I would still use Harley Ride Planner, but I had to save it to a thumb drive. Then I had to come out and load it onto the bike. Then I had to ensure that each waypoint was, each location I was going to was made into a waypoint except for the beginning and the destination. If not, it would break my trip up into several smaller trips. Really didn't flow very well, and it was very frustrating. Took me a while to figure it out. This, I build the map, and it's ready to go. And I can change it on the fly so easily, as you're going to see, or you should have seen in this video that I'm making right now. All right, guys, if you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing to my channel. Hit the like button. Hit the notification bell so you're aware whenever I put up more content. And let's go on some trips, man. Let's take some rides, and let's do some planning. I keep paper maps with me because technology will fail you. But if you plan your route out as detailed as I like to do it, the route's in your head, so that when you pull up that paper map, especially some of, I'll just say it, some of the younger guys who've never used anything other than technology, if you don't know how to read a paper map, you need to learn. Because when the technology fails, you need to know where you're at so you can locate yourself on the map, and then know how to use that map to get to where you're going. And if you have used the navigation system and the maps on the computer, as in Google Maps and the Harley Ride Planner, to look at the roads and get the geography down pat in your head, it's in your brain already. When you pull up the paper map, that map's going to make sense to you, and you'll kind of know where you're at on that map already, and you can use that map to navigate. I've got friends that they love to do the old school thing. They keep a tank bag on their tank. They keep a paper map in the, the little pocket in the front of that. And when they get ready to ride off the page, they'll flip the paper around so that they can see the next section of their route. And there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody plans their rides differently. I'm just sharing with you how I plan my ride and what I do. And I will tell you, I use the technology to its fullest potential. But I also know that technology will fail, and I better have some skills and ability to be able to use old resources, analog resources, paper resources, to get to where I'm going. Because the last thing you want to do is get out in the middle of the country somewhere and not be aware of where you're at. and relying on technology and some satellite to get you to where you need to go next, that's not a good plan. So plan your ride and then ride your plan. That's what I'll say there. All right, guys, I'll catch you guys on the next video. I appreciate you watching this one, and have a blessed week. I hope you guys are coming to ride the mountains of North Carolina with Wood Jr. and I next month, July 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th. Well, actually, the rides are going to be the 9th, 10th. Everybody's arriving on the 8th and coming home on the 11th. If you're riding with me on July 8th, we're going to meet at the Starbucks in Boone, North Carolina at 8 a.m. Kickstands up. I'll be there sometime around 7 to get me some coffee and some egg bites. And I've got my friend Nelson that's going to come up with me now here from Gastonia. So we should be up there around 7 o'clock in the morning. Anyways, I look forward to seeing you guys. And until the next ride, have a blessed day.